Hi, Sharon Brennan here, Cottage Lane Stamper. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And last week I posted a video using this Christmas quilt bundle, the stamp set, and the builder frames. And there was a comment by one woman that said that she was very frustrated with lining things up. And I just thought I'd play with a few things this morning and see if we can figure out how to make it easier for her. So, I'll set this aside, and I've just got a few blank pieces of paper. Now, one thing I found out that it was easier for me, I'm going to use this quilt stamp first. And for some of these pieces, when you take them off the protective paper in the stamp set, and if they're large, or say they have a lot of wiggle room to them, whatever you want to call it, lay it down on the desk, and then put your block on it. This one especially, I think, could get a little wanky because it's a little narrow over here and a little bit weaker. Now, and just lay it down and give it a couple seconds to regain its size and shape and put it on. So I don't know if that'll help anyone. I'm going to use basic black because this is the stitching one. And I should be using my mat. Now, when you're using these photopolymer stamps, make sure that you use a paper piercing mat with some scrap paper to protect it from overstamping. So, anyway, let's stamp this. And there's our outline, our stitching outline. And I'm going to try crushed curry and paper pumpkin for my colors. And I found it easier to stamp the stitching first. And you have to have the right angled stamp. Let's see. There, and I can just, I don't know if you can see that. Let me, if I can zoom in here. You can just see the edge of the stamp, the little lines. And I look for the stitching, and we'll see how it goes. Not too bad. And you know, we're not perfect, so if it's off a little bit, it's just because we're human. And I look for the stitching again and line up my stamp. And that one is off a little bit. But you know, life is not perfect. So now I'll try the other one for my, with some, pumpkin pie. I always manage to get ink on my hands. Okay. And I'm going to wipe that ink off and look for the stitching again and gently place it down. And I'm a little off there too. I'm going to turn it. Maybe that'll help me. And try to line up the angle here and the top line here for my stitching. And that one turned out better. So that is that one. I zoomed in too far, now you can't see a darn thing. So we'll set that one aside. Next we'll try this stitching, and maybe I'll do early espresso. The darker color is better suited for your stitching. So this is early espresso. There. And we'll do two. We'll do one in each color. And I'm going to stamp first the pumpkin pie. And line it up. That's not too bad. I'm going to clean off my stamp. And then I'm going to use crushed curry for the second one. These out of my way. Let's see. Now some of you may prefer to stamp the image first. And then stamp the stitching. I know in my classes for some people one way works better for them than the other, but I see this would be my problem here because it is full of ink in the middle and I definitely won't be able to see through that. Let's try to clear some of that off. And try to line it up. Now that one didn't turn out as well. I think, for me anyway, stamping the stitching first and then stamping the image that fills it works the best. I've not tried the squares. Let's try something different. I'm going to try Night of Navy for my stitching. And Sweet Sugar Plum for this one. Now, I've not stamped these before, so I'm not sure if it's like a two-step stamp or not. But I'm trying to line it up. And that gives me the pattern effect. And then for the solid effect, I'm going to use one of our new in colors, Berry Burst. Let's see if I can line these up. I'm a little off there. So I wonder, let's try that again. Night of Navy for our stitching. And see that one filled up in the center too, so I will definitely always do the stitching first. Then I'm going to do the solid one first. Let's see how that goes. And I'm just going to line up the points on the bottom along with the stitching. The side. And then I'm going to use the Sweet Sugar Plum for the pattern, and we'll see if this works better for me. I don't know if you can see it. You can kind of almost see when you line up the bottoms, if I can point to it. When you line up these bottoms with the top of this. That's what I'm doing there. Still off a little bit, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try it one more time. Maybe I'll reverse it this time. Sometimes when you get a different perspective on things, it makes a difference. So we'll do our solid again first, a berry burst. It's over here a bit. Again, lining my points up with this, and I'm off a little bit to the left, I see already. Let me try something else. And lining those right up on top of the other triangles. That one's almost perfect. I don't think you can get much better than that. And then my Night of Navy. I think that's the trick. Let's do that one more time just to make sure it was not a fluke. Because I think this is probably the most difficult one to line up. So first we're going to line up our solid one, or we're going to stamp that, I should say. And I stamped it in the wrong ink pad. Oh, horrors of horrors. I'm going to turn it over. That's why I try to have one ink pad open at a time. Okay, here's our pattern. Now, try and zoom in a little bit. So maybe you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, you've got the blank spaces here. And I am lining those up with the dark solid ones that I have stamped. Works the best. I was down a little bit, but you know, pattern, the border is pretty much the same all the way around. Let's try to do our, and I think what I'm going to do after I stamp this, I'm going to clean off the center with a Q-tip. Just to get that excess ink out of there and make it easier for me to line up. Not bad, it's a little off. I think it's much easier when you are able to get your head right over the top of it. So, thanks again for stopping in. Again, this is Sharon Brennan, Cottage Lane Stamper, and I'll post this on YouTube and also on my blog, cottageLaneStamper.blogspot.com. Thank you so much. Take care and God bless.